Welcome to the Hasn't Been 3 Days podcast, tournament edition. With your hosts, Justin and BJ, we talk about the tournament.
We talk about basketball.
We talk about basketball, and I saw a meme today that said it was a clip or a picture of The Office, and Jim and Pam are in the back of the elevator, and Kevin comes on the elevator, and Jim says, "Hey, Kevin, what'd you do this weekend?" And the caption said, "I watched 56 straight hours of basketball."
Seems about right. Took a break for breakfast. That was about it.
Yeah.
So it seemed like.
Yeah, you have a tradition. Tell us a little bit about your tradition. What you do this weekend and with your basketball.
Oh, the tradition of taking off work. And we handful of friends of mine and whoever else really wants to come. It ends up like just random people that we end up seeing at. We'll give a shout out to Big Red Kino. That they'll, people just show up, and then we have a table, usually of about 8 people. And sometimes that table grows and grows. The year you came, it kept on growing. But yeah, we just we get there about 10:30 in the morning, and depending on how games are going, we might leave for the evening sessions to finally go home. But me and my friend Travis, we have this weird. It was funny this year. Me and my friend Travis, we call him Tick. We get a pot of coffee. It's the dumbest thing ever. He got it one year, and we made fun of him. And then I was like, "This is not a bad idea. Let's get some coffee in our system." And this last time, the lady's like, "Why would you want coffee from here? It's the world's worst coffee." And we're like, "Because you won't charge us for it?" No, I don't know. But yeah, so yeah, we get a pot of coffee, and then we just get a pot of coffee, get a pitcher of beer, get your wings, get your burgers, get your whatever, get your nachos. Remember those nachos you had? That was size of Rhode Island, it seemed like.
Well,
but yeah, no, we do that. We sit around and don't enjoy the nice weather. We had nice weather here. We hit like 80s and 90s, and I was inside all day, so whatever.
Yeah, you invited me 2 years ago, and
pretty much kidnapped you.
Yeah, I knew.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I was like, good. "You're coming. It's already booked. It's in your name. The FBI will be there to get you, and we'll bring you here." Yeah,
it was awesome, and so thank you to your crew for letting me invade and for all that went on there. There was a lot happening in my life, and you kind of let me come relax. I've never until that time I'd never sat basically in a bar grill all day long. That was fun, and yeah, you're right. The coffee shows up first thing, and then it's like, all right, where are we going to dive in here?
Yeah,
it's what's crazy for me being this tournament, this basketball tournament, being on the West Coast is really, really convenient because where games on this weekend start at 11 o'clock your time, and that's 9 o'clock here.
Yeah.
And by the time the games are over at night, I still got time to go get ice cream, that's so.
Yeah, that's one thing I don't like about like last night the last game last night for the games last night started at like 9. I think it was like 9:10.
Eastern.
9 something. Eastern time.
Yeah.
No, that was Central.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because a game I turned the game. One of the games was kind of over, and I was like, "Oh, there's no more games." And then I was watching the rest of the one game that was on, and then the ticker came across, and it was like, "One more game." I was like, "What? Are you kidding me?" And then I remembered everybody was kind of complaining. It's like sports radios in the morning were complaining. It's like, why do we even like on Saturdays and Sundays? Why are we running these so late? Just run them back to back on Saturday, Sunday. Like, don't have like Sunday was like. They had 3 games that were all right after each other. They didn't stack them. And you have
You have the time to do that,
You
especially
have
after Thursday, Friday. There's no reason why you shouldn't have basketball from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. And
correct. Just
just
do it
run
the
it
same way.
stacked. Yeah, I agree, 100%.
Just like you just lose. Yeah, I mean, yes, you're playing the the games are all done. The games that are back to back are all the ones that can't start anyways because they're at the same place. So you just run them. Like, who cares? People
Yeah,
like watching
yeah.
multiple games.
So
Anyways,
let's just get into our analysis of this then. Of the final 16, who's your biggest surprise for you personally? Not like what your bracket was picked or the show's bracket, but like who was a cool team to see get into the Sweet 16 for you?
mm, so I don't know. Um, I didn't think I didn't think Tennessee would be there.
Yeah,
Um, I honestly didn't think Texas would be there either.
yeah. Texas
But
play-in
I'm
game.
not really. I'm not really like. I'm not. I don't really want Texas there anyways because I don't like Texas. For selfish reasons.
Hmm.
Um, but I mean, I, there's always a play-in game. Those play-in games, you always get an 11 seed that's going to run it, and I guess the committee knew what Texas was going to do. I guess. I mean, they do buy off all the officials, anyways. Won't
you
put
know,
1 second back on the clock. But that St. John's game was really good.
yeah, that game was good. The
Strange.
Nebraska game was good. Um,
Well, that was
yeah.
obvious. I thought that was going to have a special section in the podcast here.
Okay. Yeah.
But no, yeah. I mean, as a Nebraska homer, we didn't win by 10, but we did win. And yeah, that was that second. Just blowing them out on that Troy game on Thursday. That was something being inside Big Red Kino with all these Husker fans. It was kind of fun. When we had it the 2 years prior, when we had Big Red Kino full of all Husker fans, and then we crapped the bed and lost that year.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fun. It was fun for Nebraska fans, or for me, that Nebraska won Thursday early. It was like the second game, right? Second tip off. And then they didn't play again until Saturday night. So it seemed like it was 3 days that they hadn't played. It seemed so long, and it's kind of drawn. I mean, Saturday was a long day just waiting to get to that game, and then Saturday's game was probably one of the top tournament games this year so far, with the back and forth and what I mean, just they couldn't. Vanderbilt had that point guard was just dominating everybody. He was getting after it, and Nebraska stuck to their guns, and um, I would say get through some adversity, but whatever. They kind of did it to themselves sometimes too.
Well, I was gonna
There
say
was we'll just say there was a missed double dribble. We'll just get to it. Missed double dribble, but
the adversity was not one-sided. That's for sure.
no,
That
there
was
was some stuff.
probably I don't watch much of the games because we just don't have access to them. So I'm sitting there watching certain games or certain highlights, and when you I watched the whole second half of the Husker game, the against Vandy, but then to watch some of the other games too, and some of the better teams. As somebody who used to be an official, I can talk about the officials because officials, I don't get paid to not talk about them. And I think because I have been an official, there's a little bit of understanding of what goes into this. But I
Yeah,
also know the process of how to get to the highest level in officiating. Like I used to do some football officiating with this guy that does football and basketball, and he does basketball for college. He's part of the Big Sky officiating crew.
gotcha.
So he's a legit official. But here's my problem with watching that Husker game. You're at the highest level of the sport, and you guys just decide to swallow the whistles and let them play. I mean, blow the freaking whistle when it's a foul. I mean, The guy clotheslined another guy, and it's a no call.
Yeah. Well,
And it was both ways. I'm not arguing for Nebraska. I'm not arguing for Vanderbilt. And then the double dribble. So here's another thing. Here's another thing I hate about watching these games when the whole country does not have access to all of these teams. There's
yeah.
68 teams. Even the commentators, they do have to do their homework. But
Except for Charles Barkley, he doesn't.
the announcer for the Husker game, the homer coming through, the way the momentum was going, it was ebbing and flowing. It was back and forth. It wasn't like all Nebraska or all Vanderbilt or vice versa. It was very back and forth. And as you watch a basketball game, especially as the refs were letting them go, but the commentating was 100% all Vanderbilt.
Oh, 100%. They were in love with Vanderbilt from the beginning. They didn't care. The narrative is that they didn't care about what Nebraska was going to do. Even when Nebraska was having success or there wasn't even like 10 seconds, it seemed like, that would talk about them. And I said that to our whole family watched the game together. And as soon as the tip off, and I knew that point guard, Tanner, I kept on calling him DJ Tanner, by the way. I knew that he was gonna get his points. He's that scrappy little guy that's gonna get through there. Not a little guy. He's 6 for college
He's
basketball.
Good. He's good.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And he was dominating. He was picking our pockets, and it's just. But it didn't seem like Nebraska. Yeah, they couldn't get the commentating. The commentators on our side, which is fine.
It's fine.
We'll play.
What's cool?
It was just interesting.
It was cool to see the headline. I read an interview about the Coach K comments about Fred Hoiberg and just the way he's coached this team. I did not realize, and I'm a Husker fan. I've got the Huskers going further than you do, by the way. So for those of you that think that I'm an outside Husker fan, closet Husker fan, whatever, Justin's the homer. I got the Huskers in the Final Four. So I got them winning the next weekend too. So there you go. But anyway, to hear Coach K talk about Fred Hoiberg, I didn't realize Hoiberg, this is his 7th year coaching the Huskers. I knew I was personally, as a fan, as a closet fan, whatever you want to call me, I personally thought, when they hired Hoiberg, I thought, okay, this is his chance to kind of resurrect himself again in this way. He's a good coach. He's able to build from the ground up. This will be good. And then I think here's my breaking news. For any Husker fan of any sport, doesn't matter if it's volleyball, basketball, women's sports, football, it is hard to win at Nebraska. It is hard to get the players and to win at Nebraska. And I'm not saying that we're at a disadvantage of anybody else. Indiana just won the national title. I get it. But here's the thing. If Fred Hoiberg, it takes him 7 years to get to the Sweet 16 with Nebraska, when he was able to do it with Iowa State, and the elitists of Nebraska say, well, we have money, we have facilities, we've got this stuff, and we can't compare ourselves to flipping Iowa State, then it must be pretty hard to win at Nebraska if it's taken him 7 years to get there. And with the facilities, with the money, with all that's there, I everybody knows I listen to Tony Kornheiser. I love his takes on things. He's an East Coast biased person. He's a national biased person. And he was talking about how because of NIL and because of the money, there's no Cinderellas in the Sweet 16 anymore, because the money is now making the better programs better. And that's just how it's going to be. Those Sweet 16 Cinderella teams have now joined bigger conferences, and they're showing that they're not as good. But he said that the Sweet 16 story, if you will, that Cinderella story, has to be Nebraska because they'd never won before. But Nebraska's still a Power 5 school, and they're in the Big Ten, and so it's not really a sweet Cinderella thing because they're Nebraska and they're in the Big Ten.
Correct,
I completely agree with that. And I just think it's pretty cool that Nebraska, they did not look overmatched. They did not look scared. They didn't look like they got lucky. For them to have 2 timeouts when they get that rebound, and I kind of predicted, I was watching it with Heidi, and I said, I kind of predicted that last interchange. I said, here's what's going to happen. He's going to miss this shot. Nebraska's going to get the rebound and call timeout.
I was
And
yelling timeout too.
and that to me is huge coaching because he trusted this guy. He let it go, and if they would have got down in the half court and they would have stopped ball, he calls timeout.
Do you know why? Do you know? I think Hoiberg said this in post game or in a post conference sidebar kind of thing. He said, or maybe somebody was commentating on why Fred didn't call a timeout, is because number 5. I forget what his name is. The guy that was on Sanford, he was just like, he was he was the smell to the turd, just hanging on to him the whole time. He on that last missed bucket, he fell underneath it. So when they got the ball up and they had the ball and the ball was in Price's hands, when the best shooter, Hoiberg obviously recognized that they were 5 against 4.
Yeah.
And so he's like, well, the ball's already in my best guy's hands, and and sure enough, it drew 2 guys because Rink Mast ran right past him and went to the corner, and he was standing there all alone, but Frager comes right down the middle, and that was it. Because 2 guys. Yeah, because they knew that they didn't have that 4th guy because he was laying down. And if you watch like the replay, the dude runs back into the thing, and he stops at the 3-point line, and Frager just runs right past him. Like he didn't know who he was supposed to be guarding because they were so out of sorts.
And as a player, not at that level, but as somebody who's played the game, you and I both know this. The defenders are thinking timeout as well.
Oh, 100%.
100%. So they're waiting for that timeout to be called, and so they're kind of shocked that he takes it all the way to the rack and gets the bucket, and then you got it. Then you're dealing with a full court timeout situation.
Okay. And let's talk about that last play. Okay, are you a proponent of putting a guy on the ball out of bounds?
Defending?
Yeah.
Not in that situation because you're going full court.
Okay.
Because you're going full court. You're not putting anybody on the thrower, on the inbounder. That's what you're asking, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're going 4 on 5. No. You're doubling somebody. Or you're getting those picks because there's a cross picks to try to get the guy open going down the court. What I would do in that situation is I would play almost like a
half court, like half of the half,
a 3/4 court 1-3-1 zone.
Correct. That's what I was thinking. So that way, when they do pass it in, it's a longer pass, but it might be contested a bit. And
you're not letting a guy dribble
a free play, a free catch. Yeah.
Now that was a great play. They drew it up perfectly. He got the shot off. This again, not at that level. I've made 3 buzzer beaters in my life, all from that spot on the court.
Yeah, so, that's a play that they practice all the time.
It is, and it's a play that a shooter has shot that shot in practice hundreds of times. That's not a hard for a shooter. That's not a hard shot, and somebody's going to listen to this and say, "Come on, you don't know." It isn't, and what you do is you try to do exactly what he did. You try to hit it in the box and bounce it in off the board, and he thought it went in. Did you see his reaction as he laid on the court? He thought it was in.
Nebraska players thought it was in. They stood there, and the ball bounces out. The ball bounces out and hits the floor, and they think it went in, and they're like, "Oh, no!" Like, I mean, they knew it didn't go in, but I think just the shock that they all knew. All the players and Coach Holberg's even said from his angle on the bench, he's like, "That ball's in," and he knew it.
Well, the shooter laid down on the ground like he knew it was in. And then it was defeated.
I think his defeat is when he threw himself back on the floor, like on the ground, because he sat there on his knees, kind of watching,
because he thought it was.
He saw that double bounce, and then he laid back. Yeah,
it was just a little too strong, but that's the shot. I mean, and like I said, everybody who's a shooter has shot that shot, and they've made it. I mean, that's not a. I don't want to say it's not a hard shot. It's still a hard shot, but it's a shot that's been made over countless number of times for sure.
Yeah, that was one of those, when we don't have these big upsets and Cinderellas. I mean, this year that's the game. I mean, that's St. John's game against Kansas. That little buzzer beater. there's a funny meme going around. There's a picture of Nebraska, or just the ball going in and out of the hoop, and and then it's a picture of the St. John's guy that's kind of like going up for the layup, and the ball's like his hand is way ahead of the ball, and it's like, which one do you think is the game winner? And that's just how it goes. It was funny watching or reading some commentary or reading stuff on Twitter and other places, and Vanderbilt fans, well, the biggest conspiracy is the ball's overinflated. That's why he missed it. But there's complaints that it was a home game for Nebraska.
Yeah, being in Oklahoma City.
Dude. Yes, that was like 90% Nebraska fans, maybe 95%. They overtook Oklahoma City.
But here's the thing: from Lincoln to Oklahoma City,
6.5, 7 hours.
From Nashville to Oklahoma City,
I think it's 9? Is it 9 or 10?
It's not that far difference.
It's not, and they have the right to buy tickets too.
Yes,
they just chose not to.
But I did see another article about what Vanderbilt's response to that was, and it really was just kind of tip of the hat. Like, hey, they showed up, ours didn't. That's fine. It is what it is.
Well, some people said that, but then you had the coach. It's just like, or you had the players. You had other people afterwards saying, "Well, this isn't fair. It's like them playing a home game." Or it's 10 hours, by the way.
It's one player. The one I read was a player saying,
I think the players were fine. I think it's just the fans or
sure,
the people behind the keyboards.
But we can let's talk about that in this next round as we go down to Houston to play the next weekend, and Houston as a 2 seed has home court advantage.
And if they win, then they stay in town for the Final Four because it's in Houston this year. That's so messed up.
No, it's in Indy.
Oh, yeah, it is in Indy. Never mind. You're right.
It's in Indy.
Sorry. Why was they thinking it was in Houston?
No, it's in Indy.
No, you're right. Why was I thinking it was in Houston?
Anyways, but there's a 2 seed. And
2 seed, 2 seed they're getting.
The experts, when they were questioned on this with the seeding and how the team, like Missouri got a home game in St. Louis, basically, for the first round. Yeah. They lost. But it's like, how does this happen? And the only explanation that's given is there's contingency brackets. And what that means is, like, based on what happens on the conference tournaments in the last weekend, and again, this is why the conference tournaments are a joke in basketball, where we talked about it in football, where let's have all those teams play at the championship weekend of football so that we see some different seeding in the tournament. But in basketball, now those championships in the big conferences don't even matter.
Yeah.
And so you might be, like they said, even about Nebraska. Nebraska didn't win. They lost to Purdue, Purdue was a lower seed in the Big Ten tournament and yet gets a higher seed in the NCAAs, even though Nebraska was better than them in conference.
Well, but they had the better run at the end, and they were conference. Like Purdue, they were picked number 2 to win the Big Ten anyway, or number 1.
But they didn't.
Well, I know they didn't, but they were picked. And
we were picked 14th in the Big Ten, and we finished
second.
What? They were ranked first in the preseason of the rankings, and they didn't. So let's not talk about that. Let's talk about what happened on the court.
No, yeah, I get it. No, I'm with you. It was funny because during that Vanderbilt game, that was one thing they said about Vanderbilt. This is what pissed me off right away. They go, and Vandy was picked 11 in their conference, and look where they're at, and they're the best team. And then I was like, Nebraska was picked 14?
Yeah, they're not the best team in their conference. Florida is the number 1 seed. Who are we talking about?
Yeah, but they lost to Iowa. Oh, my gosh. The fact that we have to play Iowa.
That's so great.
I know.
That's going to help me beat you in our bracket contest because I have Nebraska in the Final Four, and you lost Florida. Actually, you lost Florida. We both lost Florida.
Well,
that was our only.
Houston.
let's
have
go in.
Houston, but
Let's
not
get
that
into
bracket.
this a minute. So we're not going to update the brackets for our listeners that submitted. Thank you to our listeners that submitted to the email box 3dayoldpodcast@gmail.com. Shout out to the Clough family, to the Rabel family for getting some brackets in. You're in the running for the $30 show prize.
Not Justin Rabel. He's excluded from the podcast.
He's
bracket,
excluded from that bracket, but Nate Rabel, the fill-in, the number one sub, the greatest as of this week, the favorite Rabel child, all of those things.
Happy belated birthday.
Happy belated birthday, Mr. Nate 21 at yahoo.com.
Oh, and give out his email address. Should we give out his phone number too?
Oh, we can give his password because it's the same password.
Oh yeah, it's the same one password for the last 20 years. And it's also shout out to my happy belated birthday to my brother-in-law Alex.
Yeah. I
think
know
Alex took
but yeah.
I know, but he's the favorite that day too now.
That day too. There's a split favorite.
Yeah.
One A and one B. So anyway, let's jump into how we're doing. We're not going to update everybody, but we can update our show and yours and mine because we're the hosts. So
correct.
Here's the cool thing, and I'll say this because I'm going to give a shout out to my wife. She's very beautiful and she's very smart and intelligent. My wife on the first day had a perfect Midwest bracket. It didn't go well after that, but I'm going to just give her a shout out for that. So that's good.
My wife did really well the first two picks, and then it went down the drain. No,
she had a great Midwest bracket. So
I like how you specify a certain region.
It was perfect. She got every one of them right. She got every one of them right. And so that was pretty cool, I thought. But let me pull hers real quick while we're sitting here. Yeah, she had St. Louis. She had Tennessee and Virginia. She had Kentucky. She had Iowa State, Alabama, and Texas Tech. So she had the full South Midwest bracket perfect. So that was good. That's what we're going to talk. The show bracket. We had to agree on this.
How's the show bracket doing?
So on the left side of the bracket, which is probably true for a lot of people, we got 7 of the 8 in the Sweet 16. We missed Florida. On the other side of the bracket, we didn't do so hot. But we're kind of...
On our podcast bracket, I can't remember, did we pick Wisconsin or High Point?
On the show bracket, we picked Wisconsin. Who picked
High Point?
You picked High Point on your bracket. And I had picked Wisconsin. That's one of our differences that I wanted to talk about. So on the show bracket, and let me just give a caveat to the Clough family who's following along at home, to the Mr. Nate 21 at yahoo.com family that's following along at home. The way we score this is a little bit different than just single points for every win. The way we score this is the points double for every round we go. So the first round, it is 1 point for every win. The second round into the Sweet 16 is 2 points, then 4 points, then 8 points, then 16 points, and then if you win your champion, you get 32 points for the champion. So that's why...
longer you keep people in, the better you get.
Correct, which this year, in our family bracket challenge, which includes the Rabels this year, they requested to come in, and I'm going to say it's because of my cool scoring system. But I
thought just because we were friends forever, but whatever.
Well, this is your first year being in, and you kind of asked to be in, and it was cool to bring you in. And I'm thinking, it's probably just because
this is the first year of your new blended family.
True, and this is also, your kids just love me, so they wanted to be a part of my life. So this was cool. So in that bracket, just again, we're not talking about anybody else's brackets, but we are. The leader in the family bracket right now is Brenton. So shout out to our number one MVP listener. Brenton is winning the family bracket currently.
How did that one individual that's in said family do on their special picking that they won't tell? How are they doing?
Last place.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
She doesn't listen, but she won last year.
Oh, I thought maybe she listens.
No, she doesn't listen, but
Dang.
She's not home right now to hear this through the door or anything either. But she won last year because she picked the champion, and that kind of saved her. And she got 32 points for the champion, and she ended up winning. And this year, she kind of had a different philosophy going into the picking, and she's in last place. So,
Oh,
yeah.
we'll have to clip this out on reels and send it to her or something.
Yeah, put it on IG. She'll see that. So, there you go.
All right, we can do that.
Tag her on it. Tag her on it.
No, because we don't know who it is.
Oh, we do, but we don't need to. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need to tell. She would get upset with us.
No, she would think it's funny. So,
Oh,
but
well.
here's what I wanted to say about our family bracket. So we got your family, your 4, and then we got our
9,000.
about 9. I think did it this year. I think the only one that didn't was Ronnie. So yeah, so about 9, I think. So 13 total. Plus, I put the show bracket in here as well, just for comparison's sake. And after the first weekend, most everybody's Final Four was still intact.
Yeah.
Until Kansas lost, because I've got some Kansas fans in my family, and that was a big blow. But there's still quite a few that have the Final Four left. Let's talk about yours and mine. Do you have your bracket? Do you know your bracket?
Absolutely not.
Okay, perfect. So for the Sweet 16 picks, Justin, you and me and the show, we tied.
Oh, jeez.
It's unbelievable. It's kind of crazy for the Sweet 16. I'm double checking real quick while I'm talking. Yeah, the Sweet 16 picks were exactly the same.
Yeah,
on all 3 brackets.
It's like
as far as the winners and losers, we didn't pick the same teams, but we got to the same result. So the show, Justin is in the family bracket. He's in 3rd place right now. Ooh. In a tie. No, he's solo 3rd place. And the show is in a tie for 5th place.
Oh, unbelievable show. Figure it out.
and I'm right behind the show. I'm right there. So all right there in the middle. So that's pretty good. But we had on the left side of the bracket, Justin, the show, and myself had 7 of the 8 teams picked correctly.
Yeah, I really messed up picking Hawaii.
Well, that's on the other side.
Oh, yeah. My left and your left are different. But
yeah, so the only one we missed on the left side was Florida. So on the right side, yeah, you picked Hawaii. That cost you. I had picked Wisconsin, so that cost me. And so did the show. And what's really
speaking of High Point, did you know where High Point's located at?
North Carolina?
Yeah, 100%. Did you know that they have? This is a fun fact. They have 2 steakhouses on their campus. I don't know why this intrigued me. Then you can use your student dining card to go have steak at these steakhouses. It's like a luxury resort. Anyways, the more you know.
That's pretty
cool. I
pulled
pulled that one out when I told my family that I picked a High Point because I was like, I'm pretty sure none of you picked them. The people at the bar didn't believe me, and I was like, here it is.
Let me see. You might have been the only one in this competition that did. No, you weren't.
No, that's probably with that said person.
Actually, I think you're right. Her and her brother picked High Point along with you. You 3 were the only ones.
Well, we're amazing, by the way. So
yep. So good job. What hurt me on the right side is what also hurt the show is Gonzaga.
Yeah, that one's a tough one. That's a tough one. Yeah. But, this is where we start getting the points, right? This is the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
Start getting some higher points here, and
so Justin, Justin, you have your Final Four is Duke, Houston, Purdue, Iowa State. The show picked UConn, Houston, Arizona, Iowa State. So a little bit different.
Okay.
I have St. John's, Nebraska, Arizona, Michigan. Completely different.
Yeah, I like those.
So the
I like your bracket.
three of our bracket, the three of these brackets are going to be way different at the end for sure. One of these three could win,
Yeah.
and two of them will be completely destroyed.
One of these things is not like the others.
That's true.
For real.
That's a good point. So
For real.
but
Yeah,
if you have any more to say about that, otherwise we can flip over to the women's side for a minute.
I don't have any more to say except for get your popcorn ready. Brass has got better corn. Iowa, see you later.
I want to say this. Our leader in our bracket has Nebraska winning in the next round as well. Then the only other person, Justin has them winning as well. So there's two that have them. I have them. That's 3. Emma, my daughter, has them winning. That's 4. That's it, I think. So 4 of the 13 of us picked Nebraska to win their next game. So, FYI, there's your true Husker fans.
Yep.
Going
That's
on.
fine by me.
I think Emma and myself were the only ones in our contest that have picked Nebraska to go to the Final Four. So, there you have it. Anyway, women.
Yep. Well, yep. Women. We only got one. Why did we get a bracket? We got a bracket because we called out Mr. Nate21 at yahoo.com.
So, yeah, this bracket is between
so
Mr.
he submitted
Nate.
a bracket.
Yep, Mr. Nate and the show. He just has to beat one person. Here's the sad thing, though, is there's a good chance that Mr. Nate doesn't beat us.
Is it really?
I don't know. I haven't even compared them yet, but
Oh, I thought maybe you did. I know that he sent me a text. He's like, "Oh, call me out on the podcast. I'm sitting in a bracket to beat you guys." And I was like, "All right, whatever."
Yeah, let's just go through this while we're on live. This will make great radio. Let's see where he's at compared to us here. Yeah.
He thinks that we picked too many upsets.
Yeah, in the first round, he's right. So he's got us in a couple of those first round games. But on the left side, besides those first round games, we're pretty much the same. So that's fine. His Final Four is UConn, South Carolina, and UCLA, Texas. And we have Vanderbilt, South Carolina, Duke, and Tennessee. So we've already lost the Final Four. He still has his Final Four in it potentially if UCLA wins right now. They're playing as we speak. So there you have it, Nate. You're Mr. Nate21 at yahoo.com. You are tied for first place right now with the show. So good job. On the women's side.
Send them your emails. Send them your hate emails.
Here's a question for you. How many minutes of the women's tournament have you watched?
I put what day did I text you? And I said, "Oh, they do have tip-offs for women's basketball."
That was an honest question, by the way. Too,
it was an honest. You're 100%. It was.
I didn't know.
It wasn't a slight at anybody. You're right. But I did turn that on to watch Nebraska because they did have that play-in game. I watched a little bit of it. Because that was on Wednesday night. Last Wednesday night. And that was before I had to go I had something at the church to do, so I was watching that before I left.
And they won the
And
play-in.
then, what's that?
They did win the play-in, right?
They did win the play-in, so I watched a little bit of that. And then the women's basketball game for Nebraska versus Baylor was on one TV at Big Red Kino over in the corner, and people kind of got into it because Nebraska was almost going to win that game. So I would say we'll just round up a number, 12 minutes.
12 minutes of okay. Good for you.
I don't know. So
here's the
either
thing.
way,
I personally have gone to a collegiate women's basketball game.
Well, it's because you guys had like best friends that were Mike. Wasn't his name Mike?
That's not what I'm talking about.
Oh, never mind then.
I actually have seen the Oregon State Beavers and the Stanford Cardinal play in person in living color.
Oh, you're talking about like pretty recent.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about your whole lifetime, your whole existence.
I mean, I never went to a Husker women's game.
I thought you did.
No. I don't
Isn't
think
that
so.
what's his name? What didn't he coach on?
No, he coached.
Oh, he's on Collier's team.
He was on Collier's team.
Oh, you know what? I had it all back in. I had it all messed up. I had Becky and I had somebody, friends of ours at the church. We took the kids to a women's game. We got like first row seats to a women's game because she was a coach on the team.
There you go.
That's where I was getting messed up. I forgot that Mike was part of Barry Collier's staff.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes, correct.
Got that right?
He was a part of Barry Collier's staff, and then he joined the booth and did the color commentating for the men. And then he went on to coach at Southern Nazarene University and coached them to a couple national tournament appearances before his son took over for him after he retired.
When's the last time you have you kept in contact with him? Has your dad kept in contact with him?
No.
That you know of?
No, because his son, before he coached there, his son was on staff with my dad at the church in Wichita for a little bit as a youth pastor.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
So, yeah. Nope. Haven't heard from them since he retired from SNU, and I think he went back to Indiana to get his last few years of he became an athletic director at his old high school that he coached at so that he could get his retirement years to get full pension.
Oh, yeah. I gotcha.
So, yeah. Good family. Good people.
We should have reached out to him during this time.
Yeah, that would have been smart.
We should use our brains more often.
So what else do you have for us in these last 2 minutes?
Not much. I mean, that's what I did for this weekend is we talked basketball, so we went through all that. What about you? What did you have anything exciting, or was it just kind of hang out this weekend, chill? I don't know. Anything on you didn't travel anywhere, did you?
I mean, that's a relative thing. You have to travel almost anywhere when you live here.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing major, no. Emma was back for her spring break, so got to see her a couple times, and then we had Ronnie over on Saturday and hung out with him, and then not a whole lot of anything amazing or fancy. We went to church on Sunday, which we have to travel for that. Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty chill weekend, and so no, nothing too exciting or
nothing major, like going to the beach or anything.
Nope. This week is spring break for our kids here in town, so they're off school and work, and so we're going to do something fun with them tomorrow night, and then this weekend we have some big plans this weekend. So
yeah, it's your wedding anniversary coming up.
It is, yeah. Coming up Sunday will be 1 year I've been married to my beautiful bride.
This podcast has documented your new marriage.
Yeah.
See?
So this
Yeah.
this this could be breaking news, Justin. I'm going to break this news to you because
What?
I'm going to need your help.
Uh-oh.
Here's the thing. Okay, so let's get real for the last 15 minutes. Okay,
Sounds good.
Justin, let me ask you a question. How many times in the last 6 months have I asked you to quit this podcast?
In the last 6 months?
Yeah.
Probably only a few times. It's not an everyday conversation.
It's not an everyday conversation, but I don't think you're taking me seriously.
Well, you keep on saying that, and you really want to get out of this for some reason.
But here's the deal. Here, let me just be real with everybody, okay? There's a lot of this podcast that is just shooting from the hip. We don't prepare things. What we both love about this podcast is when we have guests on and we interview them and we talk to them. But very rarely do we either one of us effort more guests. So,
well, we have I have feelers out.
Yes,
and we have stuff out that we are trying and attempting. We're trying also on top of this. I'm just trying not to do a lot of repeat, which there are people that we want to repeat. But knowing that we had around the holidays, we weren't going to be doing any episodes, and then we knew we were going to be talking sports when March Madness came, and then it's just going to be, yeah.
Well, here's the thing. So one thing we haven't broke on the podcast is, and if you've listened this long through the basketball, then you're going to be the first ones. If you've turned it off, I'm sorry, but we'll probably bring it up again later. But so if I can be serious for a little bit, because you brought up the fact that this podcast has documented my relationship with my wife, and it has. It's been there through it all. And then we did a live show with you guys coming out for the wedding, and that was cool. So that was fun too. But one of the things that God has been speaking to us about, Heidi and I about, is what we are going to do with our life. And one of the things He's calling us to do is to explore helping the church through some of the stuff we did in season 3 of the podcast of The Church Hurt, but doing it from a more clinical, professional manner, as we're both going to explore that further. And that's going to mean a lot of different caveats for our family, for her and I, and how we go about that and doing that. But one of the things that she has requested that we do is that we do a podcast together. And to do that podcast where the focus of the content will be about marriage, about, counseling, about helping through marriage, all of those different things. So we're hoping that in future conversations, again, this is breaking news for Justin as well, that we can figure out how to spin off of this podcast into a podcast that will speak to the ministry avenues that Heidi and I will be exploring in the future. So,
well, not really breaking news to me. I know how BJ works. Breaking news. We already had side bet. No, I'm joking. I'm just joking. But we knew that at some point we talked about this podcast, if could have different media ventures off of it, spinoffs, and we've joked around about other things, but how that looks. Hopefully it's something. Yeah, I love it. I know your guys' heart. I know the things that you guys have been talking about behind the scenes a little bit that you shared. And I know how much that Church Hurt series kind of did open up some things and about your guys' passion and stuff like that. So, I think the podcast would be honored if it spun off in something like that, because of that we put together a Church Hurt series that you kind of drove a lot, not so much good for me, but yeah, no, I think it's, We'll talk about it later. When we have our board meeting, we'll talk about it.
Once it's been 3 days and we can address this further, we can discuss it further. But yeah, that's one of the things, and it brings a passion for both Heidi and I in the sense of just research and bringing stuff up and providing content that is kind of research based, and we do some work and turn it into something that is more than just sharing our opinions, but hopefully helping some people out along the way, with some prayer ministry things, with some counseling situations, and some marriage topics. One of the things that Heidi mentioned when she was on the show as well with Becky and was that we could do a few episodes about marriage and some of those things.
Yeah,
and
relationships. Yeah,
relationships, and so that's really where this, I think, probably was birthed. And as God has made it more and more clear to Heidi and I as to where He wants us and what He wants us to explore and do together, a podcast will be part of that adventure as well. So
you'll have to probably get somebody to produce it for you.
Yeah,
maybe.
That's
Probably
something
not.
that we're in the works of researching right now. So
Shocking.
figuring all that out. But when it comes to the Hasn't Been 3 Days podcast, here's what's been on my mind, and this going back to kind of in jest, but kind of not. Do you remember listening to Mike and Mike in the mornings?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Like early days.
So you probably don't remember. Do you remember when they split up?
Not really.
Okay. So just for the record, I'm not breaking up with the show or with Justin right now, but this has been on my mind because when they had their episode where they announced they were going their separate ways, Mike Golick was pissed. And they made the announcement, and Greeny was trying to be all professional and being like, we're going our separate ways, and this is a mutual decision. He was getting ready to go take on First Take.
I remember it wasn't a mutual decision, by the way.
It was not a mutual decision. And Golick made that very clear. This is not a mutual, and he said that on the air. I remember him saying that on the air. This is not a mutual decision. I don't want this.
Yeah.
And I can totally, the last few weeks as I've been thinking about, this podcast and just, I talk to you every day. So people think if we didn't have the podcast, we wouldn't talk. That's not true. Like
No.
we only started the podcast because our kids were like, you should share these stories with the world. And it's been fun. There's nothing wrong with that, but
doesn't mean we still couldn't do it. Doesn't mean it has to be a weekly or, we can spin these things how we want.
Correct. That's exactly my point. It just doesn't have to be weekly content when we don't have anything. But I could just see that happening where I come on the show one day and say, you know what, this is over. And Justin says, this is not a mutual decision.
No, I'll let you know when it's a mutual decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't get to decide that. I get to. I'm pulling the older card here.
Okay.
I'm pulling the elder card.
That's fine.
You might be wiser in your life years, and your life experiences, but I'm going to pull the elder by the year I was born.
You know what would be great is if we could just throw in a really cool sponsor that would pay us to do this.
Dude, I think that's the biggest thing that we secretly, I was kind of hoping that we would hit that point by now. But I also think that there's some things that I don't know who I was talking to about podcasts. Oh, Josh Topolsky from Vivid Sign Co.
Yeah.
He came and watched the Nebraska game with us, and last Thursday at Big Red Kino East. Big Red Kino East. Shout out. So
speaking of
shout outs, so we were talking about what you have to do to get yourself to that level. You literally have to be on posting something like hourly. Like, it's just crazy. I've looked into it. I've tried to figure out ways to do it on my own. But when we have full-time jobs and families, and then just trying to figure it out, it can be difficult. I mean, that's kind of why we're only on audio, because I'd like to put an investment into video. But if we're going to do it, I'm a perfectionist. I want it to be the best. And if I can't have it, then we're just going to do, yeah. So yeah. If we had I don't know, these people, we've gotten a few emails that somebody wants to collab with us. I don't know how that looks, but yeah, we're always in talks about what we want to do, the next steps. I know your guys' heart. That isn't, none of this phases me. I mean, it will be my decision.
For this
just joking.
For this podcast.
No, for everything you're involved in. For everything that you're involved. Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it'd be kind of fun. We jokingly, when we first started, is like, could this spin off into multiple different things? We've talked about like having a, something with Nate, like that would be kind of fun. So we could see different things happening with it. So, but yeah, as it evolves and as BJ and Heidi grow in their what they want to do for others and their heart about their steps that they're moving forward and what they want, totally support it. And but we'll have to get them a good studio. We'll have to invest.
That's what Heidi said. She goes, we got to start researching the best mics for two people to be on in the air at the same location on one computer and all the things.
Yeah, that's. I'll tell you right now. I mean, peel back the curtain a little bit, but one computer and two processing audios and videos, that's a tough thing. So
yeah, it's almost going to be like you have to have almost a actual studio to do the recording and then upload the recording. So
yeah, I mean the website that we use, Riverside, I think if we had a paid version, and had options, especially for our podcast, we could do video. There's ways to do it. Yeah. And maybe we just need to win the bracket and we could just pay for a studio and then we can do whatever we want. Let's win our own bracket, VJ.
Win our own bracket and put the money towards a paid studio. Sounds good.
So no, I knew at some point that that there was something brewing, and how that looks. I mean, it's not tomorrow, so it's okay. I'll let it play off right now.
Okay.
We'll just pretend like you didn't break this news.
Sounds good.
We'll go sleep on it.
We'll rewind.
We'll talk on Thursday about this. Or Friday. I don't know, whatever 3 days is. But no, totally supportive of something like that. I know your guys' heart about that. And so yeah. And I remember you talking about the church series and having the platform and people coming on and sharing experiences and utilizing your experiences, or just, how much that meant to you and how much you missed being a part of those, or just being a part of the center of that conversation sometimes to help people.
Yeah.
And also to help yourselves too.
Yep.
Because we learn from others on top of all this. So
for sure. So, well, it's been fun. It's been good. And that's what's coming down the pike. What about you? What are you doing the next 3 days or so? You got anything?
Well, I have breaking news.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm going to start a podcast. It's going to be called, I don't know.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's going to be called I Don't Know.
I don't know.
Yep. We're just, no. Next few weeks, days, months, what do I got going on? Not much. Just kids are gone this weekend, going to spring retreat for the youth, and I don't think I have to drive to Kansas City this year. So probably just sit around and watch basketball. I think Becky's mom's coming to town, so probably just get some TV time.
There you go.
Watch Nebraska win on Thursday and on Saturday. Make it to the Final Four. Wouldn't that be crazy?
I got it
next
picked.
week.
I got it
next
picked.
week when we're recording this. Nebraska.
I got Nebraska and St. John's in the Final Four, so let's go.
In the Final Four.
Let's do it.
If Indiana can win it in football, Nebraska can win it. They can have Nebraska ball.
That's right. That's right.
Nebraska ball.
I believe
that's what we're gonna do. A lot of this time of the year. It's 2 weeks of basketball.
Yep. And then we get into the Masters and we forget about basketball. So it'll be great.
The Masters.
Although next weekend we probably need to put a little segment in our podcast next time. This weekend coming up is Palm Sunday, and then we have Easter after that. So
Easter.
Some good stuff coming up. So we'll have bracket updates for you next week. How's that sound? I will commit to having bracket updates next podcast.
For the people who entered, who could win.
For the people who entered. So there you have it.
All right. And we promise no more breaking news next week. My heart can only take so much.
Okay. Your achy, breaky heart.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, go Huskers, go Big Red, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.